Hey guys, welcome to the third and final part of my DisneyToon Studios ranking, where I've been looking at all 47 films of this very interesting studio and ranking them best to worst. This being the third part, we are going to be looking at the final 15 films in this studio and ranking them best to worst and seeing what will reign supreme as number one. So anyway, let's get started. At number 15, we have Secret of the Wings, the fourth Tinkerbell film, and this one I really enjoyed. And I like that its focus is on Tinkerbell and the relationship with her sister, who is a frost fairy. And I like the interaction between these two very different worlds in Pixie Hollow, and how there are fairies in Pixie Hollow that cannot survive in the wintry wonderland that the frost fairies are at. And I think that is very interesting. I also like that this film delves into a lot more of the kind of minor characters throughout the first three films and really gives some depth to them that wasn't there before. I really enjoyed this film. It's just a blast. In fact, all the Tinkerbell films are, and this is just another one in their catalog. At number 14, we have Tinkerbell and the Legend of the Never Beast, which is a very interesting one because not only is it the final Tinkerbell film, but it is the final film in this studio's library of films. This is the 47th film, and it's a great one to really end off on. This one really surprised me by the depth and emotional weight that it had. This one really doesn't focus on Tinkerbell that much. In fact, it mainly focuses on the fairy Fawn. And I was really intrigued by that. And I think it did a really good job as she has this relationship with this creature called the Never Beast. And they have just a really great relationship that grows throughout the film. And when I had to say goodbye, not only to these characters, but the Never Beast, and also this being the final film in this entire series, as well as DisneyToon Studios, it was a really bittersweet moment. The ending is incredibly sad, which I wasn't expecting, but it was a great way to end out DisneyToon Studios, even if this wasn't the planned ending all along. And at number 13, we have the first film, Tinkerbell. I really enjoyed this film, and this is where my love of Tinkerbell really began. I think this is just such a fun film. The animation is not as good as it becomes later on in the Tinkerbell series, but it is still beautiful nonetheless. I really love the first act of this film as we see the creation of Tinkerbell and how she becomes Tinkerbell, and I like the idea that Pixie Hollow is this place where fairies do various things that are related to nature, and the fact that Tinkerbell is a tinker fairy, I think that's a very clever idea. I also really like all the minor characters. Everybody's extremely likable. Now, this plot isn't anything new or anything, but I just think it's done very well, and it's really emotionally satisfying and just a really good film to sit down and watch and enjoy. At number 12, we have Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy Rescue, which is my favorite Tinkerbell film out of the bunch, and it's only just a hair over the first Tinkerbell film. I really enjoyed this because it focuses on Tinkerbell being trapped by an actual human and her having this relationship with this human, and I think it's a very interesting idea. I really enjoy it, and I like the drama that this little girl has with her father, who is always busy with work, doesn't really have any time for her, and is so into his work that, he really just doesn't have any time for his daughter. And I think it's a really good film due to the fact that Tinkerbell is there to really help this girl be herself and be bold and really confront her father. This is a heartwarming adventure. It's a lot of fun. We see all our favorite characters return, and they're just a lot of fun. The animation is beautiful, and I just really enjoy this film. If there's a Tinkerbell film I'm going to sit down and watch, it's going to be this one. And at number 11, we have Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. I absolutely adore this film, and I watch it every Christmas time because it just really gets me in the Christmas spirit. I love the three stories that it tells with Donald, Goofy, and Mickey, and they're all extremely enjoyable and heartfelt. I really love Goofy's story in particular, and the character of Goofy, I think I've said this in the previous videos, it's just one of my favorite Disney characters ever. I think he's just so likable and lovable, and Max is a little shit, and, you know, I don't like him, but I like the short nonetheless, and I love the story with Mickey and Minnie, and it really shows what Christmas is all about, and I really come back to this one all the time. It's always fun to watch. It's a great film to watch around the Christmas time, and that's why it's this high on the list. At number 10, this might surprise some people, but I'm going to put Return to Neverland. I really enjoyed this film, and I wasn't expecting to like this film as much as I did. Yeah, for the most part, it's a retread of what we've seen in the first Peter Pan film, but I really like the character of Jane. She's very different from Wendy, and I like how headstrong she is, even if it gets her into trouble throughout the film. And also, I think this film has a very, very good third act where Peter returns to the real world and sees Wendy after all these years. And even I got choked up when I saw them meet again at the very end, and it was just a very satisfying ending that really pulled at the heartstrings. The animation is beautiful. This was released in theaters, so the animation is better than a typical DisneyToon Studios film, but still, it's great. I think it's a lot of fun. The music can be out of place at times. It is much more modern, of course, than the original film, but it is still good nonetheless. I think this is very underrated, and I think you should check it out. At number 9, we have Piglet's Big Movie. I really enjoy this film, from the animation to, of course, the characters, and the music overall is just a blast to listen to. I like the idea of having a film that centralizes Piglet as the main character. I think it's really great, and also I like that it adapts stories from the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh that hadn't been done yet. And I think that's really awesome. The climax is a lot of fun, and Piglet is just a character that you just want to root for all the way. I really enjoyed this film a lot. It's one of my favorite Winnie the Pooh movies, and I'm gonna watch this film a lot in the years to come. At number 8, we have Pooh's Heffalump Movie, which this and Piglet's Big Movie were movies that I was back and forth with whether I liked one over the other, but I ultimately put this one just because of the emotional impact that I had in this film. I really like the relationship between Roo and Lumpy, the Heffalump. I think it's just really fun and enjoyable. I like these characters together. I was emotionally satisfied throughout this entire movie. It was just really fun. The only complaint I have is that it's extremely short. Like, it's, you know, just a little over an hour, and, you know, it breezes by really quickly. It's really a fun film. It pulls at your heartstrings a little bit, and it's just another great adventure in the 100-acre wood with all our friends, Tigger, Pooh, Roo, Piglet, and so on. At number 7, this surprised me. I'm putting Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time. I did not expect to really enjoy this movie as much as I did. Yes, by it being this high on the list, it is so much better than Cinderella 2, and it even retcons a lot of Cinderella too. But yeah, this focuses on Anastasia, her sister, and the wicked stepmother as they get the fairy godmother's wand and reverse time so that Anastasia can then marry the prince. And I thought this was just a blast to watch, and I thought this was a really good way to make a sequel. The animation is really good. I also really like that they brought some depth to the prince. Like, he is very likable and does a lot in this film that I really enjoyed. The music also was surprisingly very good. Cinderella has this song that I just really enjoyed. This is just a really good blast of a film to watch. It's not as good as the original Cinderella, but it doesn't have to be. But it is better than Cinderella 2. This is a very enjoyable film. I can see myself probably sitting down and watching this many times over. At number 6, we have Pooh's Grand Adventure, The Search for Christopher Robin. I remember watching this movie a lot as a kid, and I absolutely adored it. From the characters, to the music, to just the animation, to everything about it. This was just one of my favorite Disney films as a kid, and this was even before I watched the original Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I just absolutely adored this film. Seeing these characters interact with each other in a great grand adventure, every moment of this film is just extremely nostalgic for me. Now, as an adult, I realize that the music isn't all great. There are one or two songs that are absolutely fantastic. I just really like these characters going on this adventure. I also like how much darker it is. There's some really grim moments throughout this film that I really did enjoy. It's emotionally just a very draining film, and I really liked that about it. But yeah, I just like being with these characters again. I think it's extremely likable, clever. It's got moments of, not great music or anything, but it is still just a Winnie the Pooh film that I can't stop watching. I can't stop thinking about. It's a childhood favorite of mine, and so, of course, it's going to rank this high. At number 5, we have a Goofy movie, which might surprise some people, as I feel like a lot of people put this as number 1 at least, because it's a very beloved film, and I really, really enjoyed this film a lot. I love the character of Goofy once again. He is great. In fact, this is the best representation of this character. He is fantastic, and he has to deal, of course, with his bratty son, Max. But I think overall, this does the emotional beats so well. It does it a lot better than Extremely Goofy Movie, which is a film I still enjoy, but this one just really takes the cake, from the beautiful animation to just the beautiful soundtrack as well. I really like the music in this film. All the songs are very memorable, and I like the idea of this road trip movie as Goofy is trying to take Max on this, adventure across the USA that he and his father took when he was a kid, and I think it was really great. The one problem is, of course, Max as the character. There's an emotional part near the end where they kind of set aside their differences in a song, and it feels really forced, and I wish there was more to it. But overall, I think this is a great film. It's extremely enjoyable, likable, and it's definitely one of the best DisneyToon Studios films. At number 4, we have The Lion King 1.5. This might be the funniest Disney film I've ever seen. I mean, I'm not exactly sure, but this is a film that I just adore so much. I love this film so much, and I like the whole idea that it focuses on Timon and Pumbaa's story during the events of the first film. I think it's extremely clever. I like how the film is sort of like this Mystery Science Theater 3000 type thing, where they are watching their own movie, and I think that's really clever. The jokes in this film are just great. They're hilarious. I laugh throughout this entire film. There is barely a joke that I think is bad in this film. The music is also really, really good. And also, I like that it also pulls from Shakespeare yet again, but in a different way. Whereas the first film focused on the story of Hamlet, and the second movie focused on the story of Romeo and Juliet, this doesn't base itself on any particular Shakespeare play, but focuses on a play that came out much later by focusing on two characters in Hamlet. And that's basically what this story is. And it puts them in all these different situations that are extremely fun to watch. And it makes you think of the first Lion King in a very different way when you watch it this way. I adore this film. It is one of my favorite DisneyToon Studios films. I think it's just a great Disney film in general. I think more people need to just watch this and really just look at it as it is and be like, yeah, this is a really fun Disney film. At number 3, we have Bambi 2. I adore this film so much. I remember getting this movie as a kid and absolutely loving it. Now, I didn't love it as much as the original Bambi, but this film really does a great job of bringing to life that beautiful aesthetic and animation of Bambi, and it really feels like a true midquel in a lot of ways. The animation style is very much like the original film with beautiful colors, beautiful animation, and I really like its focus on Bambi's relationship with his father, the Prince of the Forest, and I think it is done extremely well. Also, I really like that they took story concepts that were originally going to be in the original Bambi, but were taken out, and they placed them in this film. One thing that I really like about this film, and it's extremely brilliant, is there's this moment where Bambi is hearing his mother's voice calling to him, and it's extremely eerie and creepy, and it turns out that it's Man using a deer call, and he's hearing it in his mother's voice, and I think it is beyond brilliant. I love it. The one weak link in this film has to be kind of the bully character. I do like that he's set up because, as you know, if you watch the original Bambi, Bambi does interact with this deer later on in the first film, and I think that's cool, but he's basically just a typical bully. There's really nothing to him. Also, I think the jokes are a little too modern. There's a fart joke. It's not really that funny, but also people will complain a little bit about the music in this film. It is very modern and doesn't really work that well with, Bambi overall, especially with the aesthetic of the first film. But I still really love the music in this film. It is tear-jerking. It's a great film. I really like the relationship between Bambi and his father. I think this is a great sequel that pays tribute to the original film. You can tell the people that made this film had a great appreciation for Bambi. They really took the story seriously, and I applaud them for that. At number 2, we have Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch. This film is how you do a sequel. This film had the blessing of the original director, and I am so glad it did, because this really feels like a true sequel to Lilo and Stitch in a lot of ways, and I think it has the emotional depth that was in that first film and expands on it. I like that we focus a lot more on Lilo and the relationship between her mother, and I like the focus on that because, her mother is gone, and she pays tribute to her mother throughout this film, and I think it's done brilliantly. I really like the writing of this film, and Stitch is better than ever. It's extremely funny, And also, I really like the idea that Stitch is starting to glitch and it could eventually kill him. And that makes for a very emotional third act that I think is extremely rewarding. This is definitely not just a good film, not just a good DisneyToon Studios film, but this, I would say, is a great film. It's a great sequel, and I think people need to really watch this film, pay attention to it, and see it as a great film. The great film that it truly is. I had a blast with this one. It is definitely one of the best. I love it, and I'm definitely going to watch it more and more as the years go by. And now we come down to it. My number one DisneyToon Studios film is the Tigger movie. I adored this film, guys. Oh my gosh, I love this film. From its beautiful animation that is fantastic. Again, this was a movie that was released in theaters, so the animation is even better than a lot of the other DisneyToon Studios films. But there's just something about this animation in particular that's just breathtaking. The style and the setting as well, taking place in the fall and the winter. The colors just pop right off the screen. I like the scratchy feeling of the animation that feels very close to the original Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And I like its focus, of course, on the title character of Tigger and how he is in search of his family. And I think it's a very good story to tell. And of course, at the very end of it all, he finds out that his friends were his family all along. And, you know, it's not any big reveal, but it's still done incredibly well. The music of this film is great. The animation, the world, the characters are all top-notch. I cannot talk about this film enough and what an emotional impact it has on me. I loved this film as a kid, and I also hated it because of how emotional it was and the fact that it just made me cry every time I watched it. But it is a stupendous film. It is fantastic. I'm going to say all these hyperbolic things, but it is really a great film. This is the best of the DisneyToon Studios catalog. It's not only just the best film out of this, it is a great film, and I think it can stand toe-to-toe with other Disney classics like The Little Mermaid, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Cinderella, Pinocchio. I think it can sit with those films because I think this is just a magnificent film that really, truly shows love and care for its characters and its world, and I can't talk about this film enough, guys. I love it, and, you know, you should watch it too. And that, guys, does it for my ranking of all 47 films of the DisneyToon Studios lineup. I hope you enjoyed this three-part ranking. I really enjoyed sitting down and watching all these films, even the bad ones. I just like going through an entire studio's library of films and looking at them and seeing how they change and evolve throughout the years. And I hope this video series showed that DisneyToon Studios is not a studio that you should just forget about or should completely ignore. I know there's a tendency to not even think about the direct-to-video sequels, but I think there's plenty of them that are extremely enjoyable. They're not all good. In fact, you know, not all of the films in this 47 film catalog are good, but I think there's a lot of merit to them, and there's clearly work and effort that went into these films, especially the films in my top 15 and my top 10, and especially my number 1. I really enjoyed this a lot. I hope you enjoyed it too, and I hope this piqued your curiosity to check out DisneyToon Studios' library of films. I think you will be a little surprised because there's some really good stuff in there. There's some really good gems. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed all 3 videos. But anyway, guys, Thank you guys for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next review.